INFJs are underestimated a lot. And I really do believe that we're underestimated way more than we actually believe. Because the truth of the matter is, we don't want people to know what we're capable of. We don't want to come off as a threat. We don't want people to feel uncomfortable around us. We don't want to let people know that we actually know more than we show. And that's a good thing. Like, I'm not here to tell you, like, show everybody what you have up your sleeves, what you know, what you're aware of. But the truth is, we are still getting underestimated more than we are aware of. And once we understand just how much we're being underestimated, in what areas we're being underestimated, we can actually make better judgment calls. And so I'm a real big fan of understanding why we're being underestimated and what we can learn from that situation. Because at the end of the day, truth is power. Knowing what is going on will help you to move forward in life. It will help you not to get stuck on situations and people who have no idea who you are because they just can't see what's beneath it. So today we're talking about 5 reasons why the INFJ is actually being underestimated and what we're going to do with that information. Before we get started, I want to remind you I created a new poster for you, INFJ Mastery, 5 Keys to Unlocking Your Best Life. You can download it through the link in the description. And if you want to take it a step further and kick off your INFJ Epic Life today, get the INFJ Epic Life audio guide. Everything you need you can find through the links in the description. Reason number 1, INFJs are observers first and talk second. And this is something that is very uncommon for most people. Most people actually believe the fact that we're not saying anything is because we are not in charge of the situation, because we could not really get ahead, because we could not really take up the room or have a valid point or just be powerful and strong enough to hold that conversation. But most of the time, the fact is we just don't care to really dominate the situation, because what we want most is to understand. We want to analyze what's going on. We want to see what a person is like. And the more we actually take a step back and become observers, the more a person reveals themselves. This isn't even just coming from a place of trying to manipulate people and trying to understand them. It also comes from a natural point of curiosity. It comes from a love for people, for different personalities, for their energy. This is something that we thrive on. And this quality in itself is very rare. And if people are not used to it, they will judge you based on who they have met so far in their life. And probably in their experience, when they have met people who have not said a lot, it meant that they don't have really anything to say or that they're going to flock to that person. This is not even based necessarily on reality. Because the fact is, if a person who talks a lot, who always wants to take over the room, who's like in everybody's business, this is what they're interpreting the other person to be like, even if they don't know them. And a lot of introverts are observers. For us, it's even more so that we actually understand the other person. Because there are other introverted types who are interested in everything but people. But us, we're interested in people. We understand people. We know how to talk to them. We know how to get them to open up. So it's not that we're afraid of people. It's just that this is how we go through life. This is what comes best to us. And we have learned that this is our best and most liked way to go through life. That being said, we still have to have boundaries on this, because I have caught myself more than once, many times, and I've talked to other INFJs about this as well, of course, the fact that we still think people actually understand the power that we hold. They actually understand, to some extent at least, what we're capable of. And I'm being surprised over and over again how much people underestimate us. So from time to time, you actually have to show out. You have to let people know what you're about. And you have to do this when you see that people are disrespecting you. When you see that people are not taking you seriously, are not listening to you, or not giving you the time of day. Because most of the time what INFJs do is they actually remove themselves from the situation, not giving the situation actually the chance it deserves. You never know how the other person is going to react until you actually voice who you are, what you know, and what you're capable of. You can be an observer. I'm an observer. I don't talk to everybody. I like to lean back and see what everybody's doing. But if I see that somebody is coming at me from a perspective of, you don't know what you're talking about, or, I have power over you, so I can treat you like this, it's not my first instinct to remove myself. It's my first instinct to first show This is who I am. Just don't take it at face value that I'm not opening my mouth all the time. Because you'll be surprised how many people will actually take a step back and understand their mistake and try to come back from this and apologize and actually have even more respect for you and understand their own error. But if you're not even giving them the chance to do that, you'll always feel completely misunderstood and definitely underestimated. Reason number 2, INFJs don't show their strength right away. We as INFJs, we're strategic thinkers. That's a fact. We're not INTJs, I get that, but we're still strategic. And it's not that we do this because we have some malicious intent or because we want to do something bad for other people. I actually felt really bad for the longest time because I felt that this quality of mine, that I am strategic, that I always think ahead, that I'm always like 2 steps ahead of what's going to happen, how things are going to turn out, that all of this would actually make me less lovable. When I see people really acting on their emotions, I really felt I'm like this cold robot and like, I'm just like too different and like too unemotional to ever really be appreciated. But the matter of fact is, it doesn't mean that at all. It's actually the fact that you are strategic, that you can be a better friend, that you can help people out. Like, it's totally okay to be both. Like, people can react out of their emotions, you can be more strategic, but don't think of it as something negative. Just understand that because you are strategic, people are going to underestimate you because they're not going to be aware of what you're capable of. And we also know we don't want to waste our energy. Like, why do I need to prove to everybody what I'm capable of? Like, what's that going to do for me? Most people don't care about me. Most people are never going to know me. So let them be them. But also know that if something really affects you, there's no shame in showing that. It's no shame in actually striking back and biting back if it's necessary. Like, it's totally okay. It doesn't make you a bad person. And if it really comes down to it, it's okay to show people that they probably underestimated you. Reason number 3, INFJs are empathetic, but that does not mean that we're weak. This is a big one. I cannot tell you how often people thought they can walk all over me, that I'm a doormat, that I'm not going to leave, that they can do whatever they want because I understand them, because I have empathy for them, because I think of them in a way of, you're hurt and that's why you're hurting me. Right? Like, that is just unbelievable to this day to me, how people can be so unaware of the fact. But the truth is, that's the case. I don't blame them for it. I have compassion for the fact that people are not aware of it, but I also know it's on me to protect this boundary. Like, I can be empathetic. I can understand you. But make no mistake, if people mistake your empathy for weakness once, don't give them a chance again. Like, really show them that this empathy comes from a place of strength and not weakness. And you're not going to show them by actually being more empathetic because they're just going to interpret in a way of, okay, they have no other choice. They're actually just sucking up to me and want me to feel bad for them because they're so nice. And that's why, I'm not going to take advantage of them. That's how a lot of people think who are in pain. And you're not going to convince them otherwise by being more understanding. So know that, yes, people might interpret your empathy as weakness, and they're going to do this until you've shown them that this is not something to be messed with. And you have to do it every single time anew when you meet a new person, and that's okay. And with time, you learn to really be careful about how empathetic you are. Like, I actually catch myself in situations where I'm stressed out and I can't really think about it because this requires energy of mine, like to really set firm boundaries where I'm really being very empathetic towards people and kind and giving. People that are not like really close in my psychological field, and they just slowly kind of like, keep on taking. And then I recognize, okay, like I didn't pay attention again, and they thought they can play me. Like, why do they think they can do this when I've been such a good friend, when I've given them so much, when I've encouraged them? And, again, let's just take a deep breath, understand it's nobody's fault. That's what they're able to do at this time with what they have available. We can have empathy for other people, but we're also not going to allow people to walk all over us. And it's actually in situations where you've been very empathetic that once you set that strong boundary, people actually recognize how strong you are. But you don't have to like really go that far. Like, those are the typical situations that lead to INFJ door slams, where you've been giving and giving and giving, and at some point you say like, I cannot take it. And then you really show them just how firm you can be with your boundaries. we don't need to take it that far. Like, really practice this. This is something we work on in bootcamp. This is, what I talk about in the audio guide as well. These are things we have to practice over and over again, like really tackling relationships in our life, if it's our family life, if it's people at our work, and step by step really make people aware that it's really not in their best interest to mess with us. Reason number 4, INFJs play the long game, not the short game. And this is really a matter of psychological makeup. Like, this is nothing like this is good or this is bad. This is just how we function. Some people are really all about, okay, I want that win right away. It feels good to me and I want more of that and I'm going to go for that. And I don't believe in any kind of way that the long game approach is better than the short game approach, because somebody who has short wins all the time can also get ahead really well. It's just a different approach in life, and it's actually important for us to value that we play the long game. We don't have to explain it to people. That's just what we do. We will prove to ourselves that we know what we're doing, but it only works if we actually pull through on that. That's why I do what I do here, because I want us all to actually bet on ourselves, to go for the long game plans that we have and really pull through. Because with time, if you really choose yourself, your life will show it. And it's totally okay that people will underestimate you in the beginning. In the meantime, like, let them think what they want. As long as you're not bothered by it, why care? While others are busy proving themselves, we're actually busy building for ourselves. And that doesn't have to be a big thing. Just kind of recognize it, take it as an advantage, and like keep going and doing you. Reason number 5, INFJs let people underestimate them and then prove them wrong. This is actually a strategic thing to do. Letting people underestimate you, because if you're not on somebody's radar, you can do whatever you want. When I first started this channel, you know how I called this whole thing and how I called the first ebook below the radar, above the system, because that's exactly how I operated everything. I didn't have any haters in the beginning. I did my own thing. Nobody was aware of it. And through that, I actually built that life for myself. This is actually one of our greatest qualities. And as long as we know that this is happening on purpose, we're not put in that situation. It's not that people underestimate us because, we're not capable enough or because they don't see our worth. We're being underestimated very often because we choose to be underestimated. So really ask yourself, in what situations are you being underestimated and you don't like it? And in what situations are we being underestimated and it's really a choice? And if it's a choice, like, really no need to think about it. Like, you know why you're doing this. You know that you keep people off your back, that you do your own thing, that you don't have to worry about them. And that's a great thing. If you're being underestimated from people that you want to be, respected, like maybe your family, like, really understand, okay, that's what they're capable of seeing right now. I will prove it to them and I'll prove it to myself. That's not why I'm doing it. I have compassion for the fact that they don't understand it, but it's on me to actually like bring to life what I know. And for the people that I choose to let them underestimate me, like, let them do them. That's totally fine. Like, it's okay. And when you have this understanding of that's why people underestimate me, like, there are people that I choose to let me underestimate you. But if there's somebody where it really bugs me, like, really think about, why does it bug me so much? What is actually going on? And I promise you, in most cases, it's because you're not really proving to yourself that it's the case. Because if we get really emotional over somebody underestimating us, it's because we're not completely sure that we're going to pull it off. If we're completely sure we're going to pull it off, we just go for it. And even if we don't pull it off, we know that we're committed to it. And if you catch yourself in situations like this, just ask yourself, what does that tell me about myself? Like, yeah, it's okay to let people know that you're not the one to be messed with. Like, that's okay. Like, I have complete respect for that because it drains us. Like, if people really come to you and try to play you, try to manipulate you, try to gaslight you, this is not only annoying, it is actually taking away of your energy, because you have to play the game, or you have to be aware of it. You have to keep one eye open that they're not trying to, play you. And on top of that, it's uncomfortable. I don't want to have people in my life, no matter what part of my life, where I have to be careful that they're not, playing me. Like, you don't want people like this around you. And so it is good to let people know, I'm not to be messed with. Other than that, it's totally okay for people to underestimate you. And if you get to a place of, I'm so much more than what they think of me, really get to a place of, who do I have to become? What kind of choice and life do I have to start creating? So I don't really care about this. Because the more you're living the life that you want, and the more you're creating the life that you want, the more you're proving to yourself what you're actually capable of, the less you're going to care about other people's opinions. And on top of that, they will stop underestimating you to that extent. Remember, if you want some more help creating your INFJ epic life, then get the free poster I created for you, the INFJ Mastery, and get the audio guide or join our amazing bootcamp community. Everything you need to know you can find through the links in the description. And if you want to watch another video now that is in alignment with today's topic, then check out the video you see on the screen right now. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.